Hello Ranger Point Precision friends and family, Pat here with some really cool stuff we think you're gonna like. So what we've got here are some products from Crossbar Company. This is the Advanced Integrated Mounting System. So right here we've got a chest rig. This right here is a MOLLE / surface mounting bracket. Then we've got a Picatinny and M-LOK adapter that'll adapt this to your AR-15, to your lever gun, anything that has either Picatinny or M-LOK. So who is going to have a use for this? Well, quite frankly, the use for this is going to be either military, which some units are already using this stuff, law enforcement, ranchers, or hunters. So we've got several ways that we can use this. This all works together as a system. So first and foremost, what we have here is a chest rig. So this chest rig is meant to be stand alone. This right here, we'll demonstrate it here in just a little bit. But this one is the MOLLE / surface mount. And what I'll be doing with this one is we're going to be actually mounting this one in my vehicle here shortly. These two pieces are going to work hand in hand, mounting my rifle and then securing it as I'm out walking around and hunting. So this is an alternative to a sling is basically what this is. And of course, right here, we've got kind of self-explanatory. We've got a Picatinny / M-LOK mount. So this M-LOK mount is going to lock into these. We're going to demonstrate that again here in just a little bit. So let's go. So I'm sure right now this is as clear as mud. So how does this work? Well, right here is our Picatinny adapter, and then this is the surface mount / MOLLE. So what you have here is you've got a round receptacle here. You actually have a latch that will release it. The little Picatinny adapter drops in like that, and of course your latch holds it. Then also, if you need to retain it for, tactical uses or just moving around, you'll take this little toggle and flip it right underneath the latch. And then you cannot depress the latch. To be able to remove it, you pull it up like that, hit your latch, then pull this out. So the cool thing about this is it actually has multiple attachments. So you can turn this around. It's got different grooves that it locks in. So you can turn this around for different cant and different ways to orient your weapon. Now, let's take this over to the truck and mount this up. So simply enough, I don't expect you guys to have a big truck vault in the bed of your truck. This is just going to show how to mount this up on a surface. So what I'm going to wind up doing is I am actually going to screw mine right here inside of this truck vault. So like I said, I don't expect very many of you guys to have a big truck vault like I do, but you can choose, I don't know, sky's the limit. If you got a place under your back seat, if you drive a quad cab truck, you might screw it to the floorboard, make sure you don't have any wires or gas lines or anything there. You might screw it to the actual underside of the seat itself. Put it wherever you want to, on the center console, however you got to do this. But like I said, for my purpose, I want it to be inside my truck vault. So let's get started. So now I went to the hardware store and I carried this thing in there and I matched up some appropriate hardware. Now this hardware is going to vary. This right here is made of wood, so I chose a wood screw with a head that would just sit flush in there. Now if you're mounting this to a side-by-side, I don't know, the headache rack on a side-by-side, or the fender of a four-wheeler, or whatever you're choosing to mount this to, you might actually use machine bolts and nuts to through bolt it. That way you actually get a really good purchase. But with this being made of wood, the wood screws are going to give me a really good bite. So now we do have our MOLLE / surface mount. We're going to have to take this thing apart. It is, believe it or not, 3 disassemblable pieces. So this right here, there's a latch that really stays tight. Of course, you would want it to for retention purposes. But I just take a flathead screwdriver and I stick it in the back. And I give it a little pry. And so then, boom, our little locking plate comes out. Then our front, this is the one that does the work here with the latch. And then we have our mounting plate. Now this mounting plate has the 6 screws, and that's when I was saying that I found hardware that sat flush with this, and it just gives it an overall clean and finished look. So you can see that right there. So now let's go ahead and get started with our mounting. Now, the other day I had to pre-drill this so that everything would fit. But I had camera problems, so it's already pre-drilled. Simply what I did was I just took my drill with the appropriate size drill bit and pre-drilled my pilot holes. But today, like I said, since that camera problem happened, we're already going to have our holes started. So let's go ahead and get in here and get our first one going. Now, I did put a little bit of a backwards cant in here, and you'll see why here in just a little bit. So now you can see my orientation. It's kicked back just a little bit, and that's me doing this for me. I want this mouth to be where I'm bringing the firearm into. So let's go ahead and go forward with the other 4 screws. We have a total of 6. All right, so here it is installed. Now I've chose the right hardware, so I've got a really nice flush fit. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to put this thing back together. So right here is the front of it with our latch. We're gonna just sit that right there. So now what you'll wind up doing is you're gonna take your retainer here. This retainer slides right down the middle of it, and boom, locks it right up. So now here we have our 2 adapters that are going to interface our rifle with the AIM system. So this one right here is Weaver or Picatinny, either one. And this right here is going to cling to either one of those rails. And then of course, this is going to give you the interface that locks in. Now this one right here is M-LOK. So M-LOK being just universal to everything, Magpul developed M-LOK so that the industry would have just a very standard system. And that's what this fits. Now this rifle is equipped with both. We have got M-LOK as well as Picatinny, but what I'm going to choose for this one is the Picatinny clinger. So I want this one to be I want it to go into my drawer as I'm right-handed. So I want to turn this to the left. I've also got a consideration of putting it on the plate carrier and or self-contained chest rig. So I want this to be facing where I'll grab it with my right hand. So now we've got this setting on the rail. Let's go ahead and get ready to tighten this thing down. Just going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So simply enough, boom, that thing has clinged onto our Picatinny rail. Now the same thing, this one being M-LOK, what we would wind up doing is we would take our T-nuts, we would orient everything in a line, get our T-nuts oriented, and then we would take and put those in and cinch them down. If I can get this to cooperate, I think it's because the camera's on. Boom. So simply enough, all you would do is just go righty-tighty with Allen screws on this, and those T-nuts will lock into the M-LOK. But we're only going to be using one setup for this today. So right here is the chest rig. This is self-contained. You don't need anything else with it. If you'll notice, we have the same MOLLE/surface mount right here on the front of it. This is going to accept both of those same adapters for your rifle. We also still do have the latch that comes around and locks this in under your latch there. Of course, all you have to do is just remove it, and then you can depress this and remove your rifle. So this is actually a pretty comfortable setup. We've got a really nice gratuitous top shoulder here. There is a weight distribution triangle right here in the back that brings all of this together and keeps it nice and triangulated. And of course, a big heavy duty latch that you will latch and unlatch to get yourself into and out of. So we do have adjustments for different sizes. This is going to fit from, you know, average size male up to about the top end of 2X-ish, depending on your body type. So let's go ahead and get this on me, and then go ahead and show how this is going to work with our integrated surface mount. So we can just simply take our rifle with our pre-installed either Picatinny or MOLLE and just lock this thing right there. So now what we can do is we can turn this multiple different ways. We have this in a position that is upright. We can turn it however we need to. Of course, with me being right-handed, I want to grab the rifle like this and then come out of the chest rig with it. So when we're done, let's go ahead and get this thing in the drawer. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at the crossbar system. You'll be able to find it on the Ranger Point Precision website, so you'll be able to see that at rangerpointstore.com. We'll have a page devoted for this. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next video.